Hello, my friend. It is Adrian coming to you from Longmont, Colorado. Hope you're having a great day. I was having dinner with my kids tonight, and we were talking about family. We were talking about my grandmother, who's my last living grandparent, and she is in her 90s or so. And my grandfather's been passed away for many years now. And so I was talking to the kids at the dinner table, and they were asking, well, what did Grandpa do for work? And so he worked in the produce distribution business. So I was like, okay, well, basically he was an accountant, but he worked for this company, hey Jenny, and what they did is they would buy all the fruits and vegetables from farmers, and then they would turn around and they would sell it to grocery stores and stuff like that. And the kids go, oh, that's terrible. Which I was like, what? And so they had this like viscerally bad reaction to me telling them that he was like, a distributor, right? He was a middleman, or worked for a company that was a middleman of, between farmers and grocery stores or restaurants or whatever. And I was like, man, that's so weird. So I was like, well, why do you say that? Why is that bad? And they go, oh, well, there's this movie Zootopia, and in that movie, there's this guy, and he buys the super jumbo lollipops, or I don't know, popsicles or something, and he melts them down, and then he sells them smaller ones, and he makes money. And I was like, okay. And they go on to say that they paint this guy to, he tells lies and he's dishonest and does other stuff, but fundamentally, the subtext of that very popular movie is that this person who is doing something that's a pretty normal thing to do in business, to package things up and resell them, is a bad person for doing that, more or less. And it just got me to thinking, if you really think back on the messages that you received from the earliest ages of your life, whether that's TV shows, media, the way that people are presented maybe in the news, the sort of, the stories of the mighty falling, for example, or robber barons, or what, all these sort of things, so often the sort of broad strokes that our children receive messages when it comes to success and money are basically painting that to earn a living, to be successful, to be wealthy is fundamentally bad in some way. And it was this, I kind of knew that, but to hear something that was so bland in my kids to have this reaction of whoa, that's not good, really, really took me back. And it was awesome. We ended up having this great conversation. And I was like, well, why is that bad? And so we started talking about all these things and asking questions. And we ended up talking about supply and demand. And, what if you bought 1,000 eggs and you turned around and you sold those, 12 at a time to your friends, and maybe you sold them you got a special price because you bought 1,000 at a time. Would that be bad? And we started talking about that and talked about how prices get settled on and all this stuff. But that, sort of teachable moment aside, think about where your stories about money and success and the fruits of hard work, and whether it's a good thing for you to be able to be extremely successful in your life, and what it says about you if you ever were to achieve that. And I want you to ask yourself a couple questions. I want you to ask yourself this question: if I was earning 10 times what I'm earning right now, how would that change my friendships and my relationships? And I want you to ask yourself, if I were earning 10 times what I'm earning right now, or I had 10 times the amount of money in the bank that I have right now, how would that change me? And I just want you to sit with those questions and really let yourself, be honest, right? Don't give yourself the aspirational answer of oh yeah, I'm totally would be fine with that. That would be no problem. Really think about that and really let it set in about what your fears are underneath that, and just get curious about how you viscerally react to those questions for yourself. Because I have a feeling that if you're anything like me, that there's some junk in here that you're maybe not that conscious of. And I just wonder if you get really curious about it, if you see some places where that's holding you back and that's not serving you in your life anymore. And I also wonder if maybe if you get curious about that and you take the time to explore that, if maybe you would find that, in fact, you could let go of those stories because they're not true, and you don't have to carry that stuff around anymore. Hey, Dave Faber, I'm so sorry I missed your call earlier. I got to call you back, buddy. So I just want you to sit with that a little bit and think about the story that you tell yourself about success and about hard work and about money. And if you have kids, think about the stories that maybe you have communicated to them about those things, or the messages that they might be receiving from other sources about those things. And just let that soak in a little bit. Let that sit with you. And I would just say that there's some goodness there. I genuinely believe for almost everybody that there is some stuff for you to dig around in that space, and I think it's worth doing. So I would love to hear if that resonated for you. I'd love to hear what stuck up for you and what stuck out for you and what where you want to take that. I'd love to hear your story. And if there's somebody that needs to hear this, it would be so fantastic if you would tag them, if you'd share this in a group or on your profile page. I would be super grateful for that. That really helps us to spread the word. And lastly, the story that you tell yourself and the story that others in your life tell themselves, those things really matter. Not just about money, but about everything else. And contact mapping, what I do for a living, what we do for a living, is we help people to really learn other stories and to learn how to follow up inside of what that person's story is. And it's incredibly powerful. And what's super exciting is that you can use it for free. So there's a free version. I would love for you to try it. And so if you want to try that out and you haven't dived into contact mapping before, I would love to help you out with that. So put free in the comments. That would be awesome. So thank you for being with me tonight. I so appreciate you. Would love you to tag somebody or share it, and let me know if you want to get started with contact mapping. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.